Hello and welcome everyone from all around this wide world of ours. It's good morning, it's good evening, it's good afternoon from wherever you are. I'm Sam here in New Zealand at 10 p.m. at night, and we've got Zach over in Italy. What time is it for you, Zach?
It is midday over in Italy.
It's midday in Italy. We have contestants here for the Circadians Chaos Order World Championship 2024 Grand Final. This is the inaugural Grand Final for the game. Zach here is my co-designer. As of this week, he is my co-worker. And as of today, he is my co-caster. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I have relocated my desk to my daughter's room. As you can see, there's some of her lovely drawings in the background. But it was the best place in my house to be able to commentate this game without being interrupted. And it's worth noting that Relic 1 and 2, so the first two relics, if he could manage to win both of those, he would be flying. I think it's worth speaking about what these factions are trying to do for anyone who maybe hasn't played the game or has only played it a little bit. Sam, what is Kenny on Draic up the top? What is he trying to do?
Yeah, so Kenny Ondraic, he is what we call the big red bully. Their goal and fame via defeating leaders. So they want to hunt other people's leaders essentially and be victorious against them in combat. So they can also do this by donating their Raizu, which sort of function as a pseudo leader, mercenary type character that can be controlled by Draic for a massive combat boon, or they can be donated to other players as kind of like this moving target where they can hunt those Raizu for fame. So it'll be really interesting to see how Kenny decides to use the Raizu. That's going to be something I'm looking at this game. If he's going to use them to buff someone who's weak and then target them, or if he's just going to make sure he has the combat advantage over the course of the game. So then let's also talk about Oxatea. Zach, do you want to talk about Oxatea, Alex Shadowrun's faction?
So my fellow Italian Alex Shadowrun is representing our country on Oxatea. An interesting thing is me and Sam have discussions around what factions we think are the strongest. Obviously, it's an asymmetric game. And recently, I remember Sam told me that his group, who plays Chaos Order, felt that Oxatea was the weakest of the factions. Whereas we've noticed a trend in the Italian players in this tournament have all had Oxatea as their first pick. And I also am a big fan of Oxatea, and I think that they are actually a really effective faction. Now, Oxatea wants to win battles, but any sort of battle. So they're going to be looking to scavenge easy battles around the map. They make it so that players can't really leave any hexes undefended. And they can also, the only faction that can walk onto the lake hexes. So it's quite likely that Alex is going to want to pop down some buildings, some troops on lakes, and look for some easy battles around them. And he'll also be aiming, as with a lot of these players, as we've got three more aggressive factions in the game, he'll be looking to move last as much as possible.
Yeah, fantastic analysis here. So the other two factions we've sort of briefly touched on Larian, the fact that they love the swamps. They're going to be placing out morale on any swamp region that they control, and then they're going to cash out from those swamp regions any fame based on how many they control. But they also have just a sick of mobility here, being able to move between those swamps as if they are adjacent for them. So there's some key hexes that we can see on the map here. And I'm just going to stop talking about Larian, and one of these key decision points has come in straight away. Kenny, who is second to Price in this round, third to Price, sorry, has decided to give himself the Raizu for a massive boom in the combat phase here. He's given himself Uric.
So I'd like to point out here, I actually had a chance to speak with each of the players individually before the game, and Takana had told me that knowing that he was the first to Price, seeing as AI is the first out of these factions to Price in the first round, he plans on taking them from build and then doing a double research and gaining the harvest upgrade as soon as possible. But it looks like Oxatea is beating them to the choice.
Oh wow, that's a
Straight
spicy
away.
move here. Straight away, we see. Sorry to interrupt you, Zach, but that's exactly what you were talking about. Sorry, Alex Shadowrun has gone straight for the research take from on their harvest at home, which is huge. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
That early research.
So I think that's going to really help him to not worry as much about Discover for the rest of the game. Taking a double research in the first round, I think, can be really effective on Oxatea. He also, having Drake in the game and also a very strong Drake player like Kenny, although Oxatea is focused a lot on building leaders, I think we Alex play a game that is less heavily focused on leaders because it's such a risk having them on the map, getting caught out by Drake. So I think it's a really smart move to make sure he's got a lot of that passive research coming in over the game.
Yeah, and this is interesting. We also see AI who decided to start with the leader Zhao, which is a very strong leader to start the game with, preserve their gems, gain a gem by pricing build, and they've also spent 2 gems to double research. And we're seeing a lot of prioritization of gaining these little harvest tiles. And they've gone after the double gem tile, which is a really fun one to see. I'm not sure I've seen an AI lean into that so early into the game.
Whereas I think that it's a really smart choice by Takano because AI, one of the kind of gates they have on them is that it's really hard to build outposts. All of their outposts are gem locked, and outposts are the way to easily get your troops that you've recruited on your base out onto the map. So having that extra gem income means that he will be able to get those sorts of outposts and even strongholds out on the map quicker, to help his troops get into battles faster. And also having gems is really essential for AI because AI is about playing mind games. We didn't mention it before, but how AI scores points is by wounding enemy troops. So they play mind games of trying to convince players that they win the battle, forcing the player into not defending their troops and playing strength. And that's where these gems come in handy because having gems means the player will be wary of them rolling the dice to win the battle.
Yeah, and that's a really good call. And so you've just kind of gone over the last one, the faction we didn't cover, which was AI's fame to wound other people. But the other thing that I think is really interesting this play is seeing how people have priced these actions early game. I played a game recently when everyone went hard in the first round, and it made the game super hard to get ahead economically. But in this game, we saw a 4 discover, which is pretty high, but then we saw a 1 on build and a 1 on recruit, and then the harvest was the neutral one for 3. And so that means that typically most players are going to be able to, with these prices, they're going to be able to take every action in the first round. And the person that's going to benefit going into the next round is Rarens on Larian, who has put out the 5 token, the only player to put out their 5 token in the first round. They're going to get paid at the end of the round and then have a big pool of resources going into the second round. Welcome back, everyone, to the Circadians Chaos Order 2024 World Championship Final. And we are so sorry about all of the technical difficulties that we have had. We're hoping that right now the stream is live again. So if you can hear us, please sing out, type in the chat. Zach, can you just give us a little bit of a rundown on what people might have missed if this is the first video that they've clicked on?
Sure. So if you missed the end of the first round, we saw Larian gain a whole bunch of fame. We saw a couple of attribute flips. We saw Oxatea get to fame. Larian are going down the path of Expeditious, which means basically they can almost move from anywhere to anywhere within the limits. And AI has flipped over Cunning, so they're able to gain fame also through defeating leaders or raising buildings. So that was where we finished round 1. We're partway through round 2 in the pricing, and we've seen AI go up the move and recruit track. We've seen Drake whiz up the move track. And we also have seen Oxatea go up the move and recruit tracks. And last of all, Larian, I think, did not do the action. No, they went once up the harvest track. So that is where we're at in terms of research. And then they also performed the build action. It looks like a lot of people skipped it. Obviously, Oxatea was unable to build. Larian built one foundry, and AI built an outpost and a foundry. So that is where we are up to. Now, people are currently about to harvest.
So let us know if you're here, if you're watching again. We're not sure the reason for the technical difficulties, so we wouldn't be the only people in the world this weekend who had technical difficulties. So just bear with us. Hopefully that this is all going to be recorded for a nice VOD, and you might even be watching it now in the VOD format. If you are, thank you so much for around and watching this epic game. So I've just seen that Oxatea have crossed over the gem threshold into the danger land of 4 movement points in the move phase. Now they look really scary. They've got no regions apart from their own base under their control, and they're going to be looking to spread out like a beast. Actually also have 5 recruitment points on off the recruit phase. So this is looking really nice. What we said in the last round, that with no ways to build their econ this round, they're going to be able to spend all their research, all their resources straight on building a massive army.
Just give me a minute as I copy the link onto our social media as well, just so that we can have more people join us.
And it looks like Oxatea are going to be, with their free recruit a leader action, they're going to be adding Onari to the team. Now, Onari is allowed to move off of a lake region, and that does not cost a movement point. So they essentially, if they involve a lake as part of their movement, they essentially get 1 extra movement point. So we can treat this Oxatea player as having 5 movement points coming into round 2 and a massive squad of hungry units who are just looking for fights. Meanwhile, Takana is building up quite the stomp force of robotic fighters here. We see a lot of fighters there on their base, and they are itching to start a fight. We're not sure where yet. They're going to be acting second in the move phase, so they have to decide relatively early in the phase whereabouts they're going to want to target. I wonder if they're going to be harassing Larian or going after Relic 2, or deciding to combat Oxatea where they decide to land with their troops. And we see Larian also recruit 2 of their fighters to their base. So it looks like in terms of the fighter department that AI have quite the advantage. Draic only added 1 to their crew this round. They didn't lose many. Oxatea lost 2 in the last round thanks to Draic wounding a few, but Oxatea have bounced back with 5 recruit points in the recruit phase. So AI actually probably have the strongest army coming into this round. The other thing that's worth noting is that Larian, even though they got to Relic 2, they didn't manage to build a foundation on that region and then build an outpost for that extra 2 strength. They do have the 2 strength from the morale in that region, so that it is treated a little bit like home terrain for them, but having that outpost would have been a really big boon coming into the combat phase in round 2. And the dilemma here for Larian is, do they try to just hold the relic with all that they've got, or do they try to spread and get more of these swamp regions? Now, both of these things are strong and viable, but they can't do both of them. They can't spread and claim Relic 1, I'm guessing, in this round. So the movement phase is about to begin. It's going to begin with Oxatea moving first with their 4 movement points and potentially 5 using the lake. Sadly for them, they do have 1 Raizu who is not allowed to walk on the lake. They cannot touch the water. They cannot hide away in that lake. So if they're going to incorporate the lake as part of their movement, the Raizu is not allowed to move onto the lake. And I might have to inform them of those rules. That is a very interesting one for them.
Yeah. Looks like
Okay, cool.
Kenny is reminding him.
And now we might even have to check a rule about if the Raizu ends their movement phase on base, I think they go back to drag.
Yeah.
So
that's correct. It's probably worth reminding Alex about this.
Kenny is on top of this. Kenny is on top of this for sure. Okay, so it looks like Oxatea is going for a quote-unquote easy combat against AI, but this is really falling for AI's trap. Now, I was kind of hoping that, actually, to speak of traps, that AI would have literally placed a trap down in those regions and increased their research in the build track. Instead, AI have gone for recruit and move, just kind of matching the cadence of the table where everyone else is putting their research points into. It would be nice to see them differentiate themselves a little bit and start slamming their board with buildings that are quite toxic to face. But, I mean, having said that, they do have a massive force of fighters, and I'm really interested to see how Takana uses them.
So, one thing I'm disappointed that Alex didn't do is that he didn't try and take on Ayla, because I think leaving Ayla on the map is going to be a problem. Although he is going for Rarins, but I think he's going to need a bigger army with Rarins moving after him. He has had one unit pinned there, so and we can see his path across the map. He has left his Raizu on base, so I believe no, he's moving him off and he's leaving him there. Okay.
Yeah,
so
that makes some
is all
sense.
legal, and his Raizu is within range of Drake. They have 3 moves, but only getting 1 fame this round for Drake. They might feel a little bit pressured to try and create more opportunities, but there's not a lot going for them so far. So
it looks like we might have tunnel gaming this play, right? We might see Drake use the tunnel, make use of the pin, although they are moving last, so Ayla might be out of dodge by that point.
And they're not going to bring their full army as well. If they
now, Zach, you seem to be a proponent of this kind of play style here with Oxatea, where at the moment they've opted for a 1v1 kind of fight. Do you want to speak to the benefits of going for these 50-50 plays as Oxatea on Relic 3?
I think, for me, that's the bread and butter of Oxatea, because some players like to assure themselves of battles that are going to be won, definitely. Whereas Oxatea, you have to win so many battles that you just want to have more chances to win battles. So you're happy to go for kind of 50-50, 60-40. And actually, a really interesting thing here is that he's attacked Larian twice. Now, unfortunately for him, Larian have more cards than him. But a tactic that I quite like doing, which maybe he could have done against AI instead of Larian, but I feel maybe he's going for Larian because they're ahead, is to attack a player who has less cards than you and attack them multiple times, so that you can actually win those 50-50 battles because the other person doesn't have any cards left. So if you're able to up your movement, have enough troops, get into a lot of battles, you can actually make people exhaust all their resources against you, so that you start to end up winning some of those battles. So that's sort of the psychology that's behind it. Interesting what AI is doing here. They're moving into this Relic 3. I'm not sure why. They're only going to get 1.
It looks like they're
Sadly,
going
the
after
truth there.
attribute flips again, and I think AI, apart from Circadians, perhaps have the best attribute flips in the game.
Yeah.
A lot of their abilities are sort of nerfs to them, and when they get to sort of shake off those nerfs, they can become a real powerhouse coming into the late game. Now, you do want to have 3, 4, 5 fame coming into round 3, just so that you are applying that pressure by round 4, where you're knocking on the door of your 19 fame or 18 fame, whatever it is, to win the game. I can't quite read binary off the top of my head like that. I think it's a multiple of 2.
It's 18. 18,
Yeah.
I believe. The one problem for him though is that he's going to put himself in the position where he can only win on relic victory if he doesn't start gaining more fame. All right, so here's an interesting move from Rarians. He's chucking EV together with Ayla, so now he's got a really powerful stomp force, probably out of Drake's reach right now. So as I said, he's going for that relic 2 to get an extra
Yeah.
to get an extra morale on his base. Let's see if those were only 2 moves, right? 1, 2. He's got 1 left. I imagine he'll be going for another swamp. Yeah, it's worth saying that Ivy's special power is that she can fight together with another leader. So, although he's not Oxatea, he has deployed a special leader that allows him to do that. It's a little bit risky because Draic is in the game. That could potentially be 2 fame in 1 battle for Draic, but right now they would not be able to arrive with their whole army. So they're not really a threat to him.
Yeah, and as suggested
He's-
earlier, Larian didn't really have the ability to go out and claim more swamps as well as claiming the relic, because if the relic was a freebie, Kenny would have swooped in there and taken a leader kill and taken the relic, which would have been lovely for him. So Rarians rightly has decided, I'm just going to sit with the regions I've got, and has decided actually to leave that swamp in the southeast over there to Oxatea. It looks like Alex is going to be able to win that battle there, and probably the battle on the cliffs as well for 2 extra fame going into round 3. So it's looking nice for Oxatea. But Larian quite happy to have 2 leaders on the field, quite happy to have the fame that they've already got, and to gain this relic, which will give a research and will allow them to place a morale on their base. So we're just waiting now to see what Kenny decides to do with his movement. 3 movement points available, and I would love to have 5 movement points in this position. Wouldn't use it.
Yes. Kenny's going to struggle. I think Kenny's only real option, unless he wants to move through the Larian areas and attack Tovati, but Tovati's quite strong. So I think he just has to go for the Raizu, just get 1 on the board. He's not really able to challenge much more, I think.
Yeah, there is a good play just to sort of grab your whole force with your 3 movement points and march south. 3 moves south. You get to police Larian, take away 1 morale from them in a region that is quite good for them. And then you can, as you said, Tovati is strong, but with this whole stomp force, he's not pinned. He's only pinned for 1 or 2 from that outpost there. He should be able to contest, especially because Tovati is on a cliffs, so Drake do get 2 extra strength in that region.
I feel like he might want to have his Raizu back though, just to have a bigger stomp force in 1 region. So I could see him going for the Raizu for that reason. But I agree with
how worried he is about the fame here of Rarians, because in order to knock him back with fame, 2 morale is not going to need to be removed. So Alex will remove 1 fame here in the swamp region in the southeast, but Rarians can decide to cover over the strength and not lose fame income. So it'd only be when the second morale is lost where the fame income is actually hit.
I can actually see Alex maybe redeploying from the cliff region. So it could actually be a really easy victory for Kenny, because Alex probably wants to take out this morale over here, and I think Royce reinforced with some units. So it's not looking that great for him in that region. So we'll see.
So Royce is still having a little bit of umming and ahhing about how he's going to move his final troops. So we'll let the man from Montana decide while we talk a little bit about what the game plan should be here for AI. I think AI is one that's really interesting to talk about because they are pursuing another attribute flip here. They are just going after one wound, one fame against Oxatea on Relic 3. Now, it's worth pointing out, even if AI don't do any attacks in this combat against this fighter, with Edakai in there, if they win the battle, they gain a victory in that region, then they will wound one fighter. So that is a really nice play, bringing Edakai into that region. They don't need to worry at all about attack, and they can then pursue the luxury of shielding their own fighters and keeping their stomp force nice and strong in Relic 3. So what would you be looking at here, Zach, as AI going into round 3? What attribute would you flip? What would be your game plan from that point on?
I think I would definitely flip the attribute to Copious to get your troops into your
yeah, now that they've opted into research into the recruit track, yeah.
Well, also because I think he's so far behind on fame that he needs to think about Relic Victory, and AI can have 10 more troops than all of the other factions on the map here. So that could be key to winning on Relic Victory. So I would aim as him to get those troops onto my player board and get them out on the map as soon as possible to just start overwhelming other players. Get his movement up as well.
I'm just checking whose move it is. I think we might be finished with Raring's turn, and we might have Kenny's move. And it looks like Kenny is deciding to stomp down south. Now, will he bring all of those troops from base, or has he got other plans for his final movement point? You can sort of feel that all of the path to the finals for these players, each of them have won 2 matches. They have been the victor in 2 matches. Now, we had 20 contestants, I think, or close to 20 contestants, 20. And 4 pools playing a 5-player match. The winner went through to a semi-final, and then the 4 losers from that match faced off against each other in kind of like a double elimination bracket. And then the winner from that match also entered the semi-final. And then we had the semis, and that was 8 players in the semis. And then we managed to have 4 winners from the different matches that were played, the 4 different matches that were played. And we ended up with the winners here. So can you tell us, Zach, about the path to the final for all of these players? So Kenny first up. How did Kenny make it to the final?
So Kenny just re-stomped, I think, his first game and won in round 3 on Drake. So the interesting thing about Kenny is that he it's not like he's a Drake player main. He actually ended up playing on Drake as his 3rd choice. And he noticed that Drake wasn't popular at all. And so he decided to just always pick them, because then he knew which faction he was going to get. Because in the tournament, each player gave a ranking of their top 5 factions. And then we, according to their rankings, tried to fairly give them at least one of their top 3. And then if, they hadn't had their top faction in the first game, then they would at least get it in the second game. So Kenny, to avoid having to play factions that he didn't want to, he just decided to pick Drake. Now, he smashed in his first group game, and he also won pretty handily in the semi-final. So he has not lost a match. But the same is true for Takana, who won his first game with Scaro. And then he won his second game in the semi-final with AI, and he decided to bring AI into this match as well. Actually, speaking with Alex Shadowrun before this match, he was in the semi-final group, so he has already lost to Takana. And he said he was quite afraid of Takana's AI.
I love to hear it.
And so the interesting thing is Alex and Takana have already played each other, and Rarens and Kenny have already played each other. But they haven't played each other. So Kenny has not played Takana or Alex, and Rarens hasn't played Takana or Alex. So the interesting thing about Alex, though, is he lost a game against Takana, but he's never lost on Oxatea. Oxatea is his preferred pick. Unfortunately, in the first semi-final game, he was not able to play his preferred pick. He was on Larian and he lost. So it's interesting to see whether being on Oxatea will make a difference in this final for him. Rarens also has actually played 3 different factions over the tournament. I think he may have won the first group game, I think, on Scaro, and then he lost the second game on AI, and then he won the third game on Larian, and he decided to bring Larian into the final. So also there, we've seen him win on different factions. So it'll be interesting to see. He's off to a good start, but whether he can keep up that momentum and actually take this tournament out.
Yeah, really good, really good. Thank you for that, Zach. Now, this is really interesting. We have had the first combat selected, and I'm going to tell you, I'm a little bit surprised. So it was Alex's choice, and Alex has chosen the southeastern swamp. Now, there's a few things that could happen here. He could have gone Cliffs region, and he could have gone to face Larian, and either for the free win, to make sure that he can get a win in that region before Draic take out Larian. Now, if Draic took out Larian in that region before Oxatea got to fight, Oxatea would have to beat Oxatea would have to beat Draic in order to get 1 fame in that region. So he hasn't gone for that. But the other thing that this has left open is it's left open the ability for Larian to choose to fight Oxatea in the cliff regions and allow Oxatea to redeploy away, preventing Draic from gaining a fame in that region by sending the leader home. I don't know if we're going to have that kind of game plan happening, that kind of like cooperation, I guess, at the table. It is very much within the rules of the game. People can negotiate. The negotiations aren't binding, of course, but you can have table talk like that. But instead, we had this fight in the swamp region. I feel like Alex is just trying to get as much as he can, try to make the most of his tiebreak here, where he was 1 behind 6v7.
I think Alex lost by 1, I believe, if I counted correctly. He added a 4 plus 2, so he added 6. And he already had 6, so he went to 12, and then Rarens added 6 as well, and he was ahead by 1 at the beginning. So it was a victory for Larian by 1 strength, so very close battle. As I was talking about Oxatea's strategy, and he's lost some troops, but I think he's won the battle. As I was talking about Oxatea's strategy, unfortunately, it is risky, and you will lose some battles. So you have to have kind of the movement, the recruitment to be able to continue to keep it up and to get into enough battles to make it pay off.
Yeah, for sure. And there was an upgraded leader there that he lost. So it felt like there was a play to pick the battle against Larian in the cliffs, not feed a victory to Draic, not feed a fame to Draic, and then preserve both of his leaders. Obviously, the downside of that is only 1 combat victory this round, but now he might not get any, and he's 1 leader down.
Yeah, I would call that a misplay, because picking the battle against Larian and redeploying, I think would have made him win, would have made him take away one of the morale from Rarens, would have given him fame in the swamp region, and it also would have protected him from giving a point to Draic. So I would just call that a straight up misplay by Alex. Unfortunately, he missed that opportunity, and so we'll see if he can recover from that.
Yeah, now, of course, if he won the combat, maybe we wouldn't be calling it a misplay, but here we are, casters, we've got the benefit of hindsight to be able to say things like that. And so it looks like we have the second combat of this phase, and it looks like Relic 3, which should be a nice, easy stomp for AI. The real question is, do AI even decide to play a card? They don't need to play any attacks. They should be playing into shields just to make sure that Oxatea don't feel spiteful and try to wound 4 of their fighters. And Oxatea are being friendly with the redeploy. I'm not sure what that's about, but it looks like they are going to lose their fighter. AI will get on the board with 1 fame, which is the only number which is the same in binary as it is in base 10. Fun fact. I guess 0 also counts. It's one of the only two numbers that's the same in base 10 and binary.
So I think one thing to notice here is that Oxytea is running out of troops. They've lost
Yeah.
a lot of troops to wounds, so it's one of the problems with having leaders on the field that don't have shields. I mean, Onari had 1 shield, but both Onari and Tavoti are heavy on attack. And actually, in terms of his choice of leaders, he didn't choose the leaders that have shields. So it's kind of his strategy, but he's going to need to be able to sustain that with his recruitment research.
Yeah, totally. The benefit for Oxytea this round is even though they're going to be losing a few of these regions that they set up on, they do still have that Raizu, Uruk, in their hands, and they will be allowed to build next round. So they've got that spot where they could build. They also can build on the lake for some lake gaming. I'm not sure they're going to do that this round, but it can be quite a nice strategy to set up a stronghold in that region so that they can deploy all of their units straight to the stronghold and have this really cool kind of pseudo base in the middle of the map where they can launch out their attacks from. It's pretty nice. In this map, we do have 2 relics that are adjacent to that lake region, and we do have Onari, who has been upgraded, but will need to be deployed again onto the map for the cost of a gem if they do want to benefit from his ability. Looks like we have a combat between Larian and Draic on the swamp region here, where Kenny stomped through. Now, he had the option, he was pinned for 2 units. He had the option to just leave 2 in there and to really make sure that he wins his fight against Oxytea in the south. But Kenny has decided to have 2 extra troops than what was required. And this to me shows intent that he really does want to win this combat and wants to bring Larian down 1 peg. And it looks like Larian opted into attack. A really spicy play by Larian just to try and wound his opponent to keep him humble, I guess we should say. But it looks like Kenny does win that combat.
I think something that happens in this game is because generally winning battles is so important. People forget about how important wounding troops is. Like, when all your troops are in the leftmost recruitment space, it can really affect your whole game, especially in the early rounds. And so seeing some of these plays to take out extra units, it has a greater effect on the game maybe than we give credit to.
And you know the thing about this, actually, Zach, is really interesting. We saw in round 1, Oxytea lost 2 fighters. We saw right now, Kenny's lost 2 fighters. And I'm pretty sure in the combat against Oxytea in the southeast, Larian also lost some fighters. So who wins out? It's AI. AI are the ones who, 1, have the best recruit track. They have opted research into recruit. And we think they're going to be flipping Copious coming into the next round. So I feel like they're going to be a monster coming into round 3, just in terms of pure combat power, in terms of pure strength that they can get onto our region or even spread among 2 regions. I don't think anyone's going to be able to match them in that round.
Well, let me just say they're already on top of the next 2 relics, and it's a straight run to relics 5 and 6. So, we may not be giving Takano enough credit. Maybe he, according to the relic setup, has been aiming for a relic victory the whole game. It's quite an audacious thing to do, seeing as relic victories tend to be quite hard to pull off. But it could just work with all the attrition that we're seeing in the other factions. Oxytea has decided to keep their leader. So he realized he was going to lose the battle. And so Kenny will gain a point. But there's a good chance that Oxytea is losing more troops here, I think.
Oh, this attrition is really, really painful for the players. And it means what's going to happen is players need to now opt their research into recruit. And they can't go for any of those luxury, big building kind of strategies or even pushing further along the move track. And things are going to start getting more expensive as players have played their 1 tokens. They've taken back all of their other pricing tokens, and they're looking at a handful of 5s, 4s, 6s, all that sort of nonsense. and I think things are going to get quite spicy economically, not just in
Well,
terms of map presence, but also in terms of the energy.
That's 2 more troop losses for Alex Shadowrun. So he's really suffered heavy losses to his troops. That's a lot of resources to get all those troops back on the map. I didn't get any fame this round either. So from a really good start with 2 fame in the first round, I think the game's really turned on him. I think the big issue for him was that he was moving first this round. And I think he made a move that was a little bit too ambitious for someone moving first.
The redeploy was a great
a lot
option
more
to prevent Drake getting a fame, to make sure he got a
to
fame,
at least
and
get
just be able to
one.
knock
Yeah.
Larian down one peg. But the thing that is in Oxitae's favor, if we look at the research area on the board, if we look at those last 3 tracks, the Harvest, the Recruit, and the Move, they are already looking quite strong in all of those areas. Even if they don't get any more research, they are pretty powerful. They're going to be able to bounce back. And in fact, they will get more research because of that beautiful looking Harvest tile on their base. So it was like that move in round 1 from Alex Shadowrun wasn't just about enabling a good round 2 or a good round 3. It actually allows him to bounce back if things get a little bit shaky for him.
And let's not forget, he will most probably pick move last in the next round. So, he's gone from a round where he was moving first and everything went against him. Next round, he has no troops on the map, no troops that can be pinned. He has the economy, and if he upgrades his recruit track, he could maybe even pay for fast tracks and get 7 troops out there, even 9 troops out there, depending on how things go. He will probably pick move last, which means he gets a free leader upgrade, so he could actually bring out a different leader, potentially a Zaru, who's really good in combats in terms of giving an extra card and gem, or even Latanya. And so it could actually be a big round 3 for Oxitaea, so maybe I'm being a bit hard on him. So we'll see how things go.
I'm just gonna quickly jump in here. We're gonna jump into the voice chat with all of our players very soon. We're gonna have a quick little conversation with them about how the game is going. Hopefully that won't be more than 10 minutes. But the last interesting thing, actually, maybe I'll save this to ask Kenny about this last move. But I see that he decided to redeploy in that combat against Royce, against the building, perhaps deciding that region wasn't worth anything for him and wanting to preserve his troops. But should we jump in to that chat, Zach, and we will just have a little chat with the players to see how it's all going?
And then I think if everyone's income's is everyone's income done?
Hello.
Your income and relic, and then we've got some questions for you guys.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm just gonna go here.
Yeah.
Get my research, move this morale here, and then move everyone back.
Yeah.
And then spend a gem, and I'll go here.
And we see AI flip copious. This is beautiful. The chat that the commentators have been talking a lot about Takana, and it is all going to plan. Okay, so I've got 1 or 2 questions for you guys, and Zach might chime in with some questions. Hopefully won't take too long. So the thing that's just on the top of my mind right now, Kenny, if you don't mind divulging, is that last redeploy against Rarans, you decide, I don't want to take out this foundry. And are you happy to share kind of what some of your thought processes were with that redeploy?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, I mean, I wanted a leader back at home, so I don't have to, if I want to be able to attack from home to somewhere else, like if I want to go from, say, here down to over here, I can take the new recruits and not have to worry about it. So that's kind of nice. The other thing as well is that I had the reduced relics by 2. As an actual combat tactics card, 2/2 is not my favorite split. So I just wanted to be able to cash this in for some more energy income and another card. So I knew I could do that. And, it's going to net Larian 1 extra card in the long run, but I can always come crush that later if I need to. Like, the redeploy I would have gotten from income was not worth it. So I figured it would just better to pull out.
This is some expert play, guys. I love to hear it. Hey, Zach, do you have any questions for any of the players?
Yeah, I just want to ask Alex how you felt about that round. It was pretty harsh one on you.
The round is really tremendous for me in the wrong way. I'm crying. No. It's a game. It's a game. I tried. I tell before the moving first is terrible because you don't know what other opponents do, and I choose to go to against Larian, but
Everyone
it's called?
dogpiled on you.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we had a quick chat in the commentary about the options you had being first pick. We were wondering whether or not you would have picked this this cliff region, and you would have chosen to redeploy just to make sure that you could win the fight on the swamps, and also to prevent Drake from gaining 1 fame against your leader. Did you consider that possibility of redeploying against Larian and just going for 1 fame
True.
instead of 2?
Me, no.
Okay,
So
that's all good.
Absolutely no. I'm pretty sure I win here, but the dice don't
The
roll.
dice are
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
You were
Because
one
I-
strength and tiebreak favored, right?
yeah. I choose the battle, and I'm pretty sure I win this fight, but that's the game.
It's all good, mate. You're still off to a great start. You've got a lot of research. You've got your research on your base as well, and 2 fame is looking good. Now we're just going to move to Takana. We're seeing a bit of a passive play style here from AI. I've been told that these guys are supposed to be quite aggressive. Can you let us know a little bit about your game plan? You don't have to give too much away, but are you planning to pounce on your opponents at some point soon?
Yeah, AI is fairly weak to start off with. Once they start getting their build up, then they can be quite strong. They have one of the strongest strength on the board. So I think I'm in a good position now. I've been lucky they've left me alone to build, so now I can kick on and hopefully win the match.
I think we're going to
looking forward
see 30 robots on the map very soon.
Yeah, very soon.
And Zach, do you have any questions for Rarins or Larian?
Yeah, we had a question about your choice to flip Expeditious Rarins. What was kind of your choice there? Often players go for Spirited to be able to get the morale place straight away. What was your thinking behind that?
Yeah, I think at the time the reason why I flipped this is just to give me more flexibility for my base. For example, like this now in that last round. And then also at the time when I could have flipped Spirited, I think it would have only added 1. Whereas like now, if I do it in the future, it adds because I was already spread it out on all the swamps. But now I could potentially add more if I flip it next round, or the round after, depending on how that goes. So that was just kind of my thought.
Hey, that's awesome, guys. Hey, thanks so much for an insight into your brains. You guys are clearly very strong players. We're having heaps of fun. I hope you guys are having fun. We won't interrupt you too much more. We might jump in again if we have a spicy round, if we're still going maybe after Relic 4. But all the best. Keep having fun, and thank you so much.
Good luck,
Okay.
guys.
Oh, good. Thank
Yeah,
you.
See ya.
All right. There was some big brain plays from Kenny with that redeploy, man.
Yeah, that was really big brain. I see that he did play that deduct 2 from the region count. He's thinking ahead really, really nicely.
Yeah. I'm a little bit, one thing I didn't mention while we were still finishing off the round is this redeploy by Alex. I'm not sure I would have done that because he's exposing himself with move last. I much prefer to have all my troops on the base. So
Good call.
we'll see.
Good call.
He had a really tough round, so it's easy to kind of spiral to lose your concentration when things don't go your way. So we'll see if people do come and try and pin him there, or whether he gets away with it.
Or perhaps he doesn't even price move.
Oh, he
last
didn't
and
even
pops
he didn't
into-
even choose move. Oh wow!
And
he
you
didn't
know,
even choose move
I don't actually mind this because he's getting to gain an extra research in the recruit track. He might even pop over to the 9 recruits. He's looking at AI over there thinking they've got a massive stomp force. He's just lost a leader, and so getting to gain that auxiliary action for free to deploy a leader is extra strong. And the other thing about perhaps making this redeployment, which I tend to agree with you, Zach, about not wanting to have your troops on the map as Oxatea if you can help it. But the one benefit here is if he decides to build a stronghold on the region there, he sort of consolidates all of his troops and he acts as if he has one less movement point. He doesn't need to spend that movement moving off of his base. So he functions as if he's got 5 movement here if he does get to place that stronghold, which could be a really nice boon for him. And we do see AI swoop in with move last. And that doesn't hurt Oxatea too much because they're moving second to last here.
Exactly. I wanted to say a key here is that he knew that the greatest chances that AI was going to pick move last. And then he gets to move second to last. And also, he is hoping that AI is going to do some of the policing that he's not going to be able to do. AI has been very passive so far this game. This is really the round where they pick move last, where you expect them to start smashing some people. And as I said, beware of the relic victory. AI move last. They're already on 2 relics.
Yeah.
2 more. Beware of the relic victory. That's all I'm going to say. I
mean, if they spec into 6 movement, that's when we start talking about the relic victory. They still have to get over to relic 5, which is a few movements away because of that mountain in the way. But Zach, just got to tell you, this is fun. I'm enjoying this. What a game.
It's a lot of fun.
We've got some really strong players here. And also want to shout out Shem, who is controlling the camera and the development side of things and all the production is what I meant to say. Thank you so much to Shem for doing all of this, hosting this stream. Hopefully for you watching the VOD that this is nice and clear and smooth. We've had some technical difficulties, but this has been a fantastic game of Chaos Order so far. And we do see, actually, the prices in this phase are still kind of low. We haven't seen high pricing, except for, of course, Takana's very high price with 6 energy price for moving last. So everyone will be paying Takana. Takana is playing for the late game extreme. He's flipped Copious. He's flipped Cunning. He's got all of his troops ready to go. And look, he's going to be getting a lot of energy coming into round 4, if there even is a round 4. But he's all just thinking ahead for making himself strong in the time when it's really going to be most important to be strong, is when pushing for Relic 4 and 5.
Speaking about the pricing, Sam, I think it's more about necessity than anything else. Dre needs another Raizu on the map, so he's dropped his 3 tile. I guess he could have dropped his 6, but I guess on Discover, no one will probably do it if he drops a 6, I reckon. He wants to be paid. He wants a Raizu that's his 3. As we saw, Rarens dropped his 5 and his 4 tiles in the first 2 rounds, so he needs to get his tiles
absolutely.
back.
That makes sense.
We saw that Alex lost a lot of troops, so he wants some extra research into recruit so that he can make sure he has power on the map. And obviously, Takana move last, 6 cost, brilliant.
Yeah, fantastic. And we see that Kenny is just drowning in resources, so he can very much afford to fund this Raizu. He's given himself the Raizu, which is in the swamp region that he won off of Raren's last round, and you can see that he's eyeballing the robots across the way saying, hey, how you doing? I'm going to see you soon.
Yeah, this was actually a comment that Rarens had before the game. He was quite worried about Kenny, having already played him once and lost to him. He said that Kenny does not give Raizu to other players. So, as a general rule, Kenny is going to want to hold on to his Raizu and be as powerful as he can. He's had one taken off him this game, which is probably he wasn't planning on doing. But I think we'll see him also give Cataran to himself maybe the next round.
And we saw that he, in his game plan, how he decided to build out his structures in round 1, just build up that solid base of his income with the foundries, bringing in energy, having a massive pool of energy to pull from, and then perhaps he's going to unlock the foundation where he can spend energy to unlock gem locks just so that he can use that as a very versatile resource, and he can choose to fund his own Raizu and build up a massive stomp force, because right now people are very, very greedy for getting that combat edge, especially with Takana, who is being the person, the trailblazer, essentially the one who is the one to catch in terms of combat power. Other people need to do every little thing they can to try and keep up. And here we see it, exactly the 2 energy for gem locks. It was prophesied and it has happened. He is going to be able to pivot that energy into gems where it is needed.
So just let's have a look at the research that people have taken as well. Drake has moved up to 4 movement, and together with Larian and Oxatea, and AI is a little bit behind. So they only have 3 movement. It could mean that Relic Victory is not on the cards this round, probably, unless the other players do stupid things. On the recruit track, Oxatea hasn't moved up any further. And so yeah, we haven't seen a lot of movement on the research track this round. It could be because people are suffering with the resources after the last round. In terms of builds, Oxatea did not go down the path that you suggested. They have put a foundry down. They want to be able to get that harvest spot underneath their leader.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I understand that. So they are going to have to use at least one of those movement points to gain their troops off of base, but maybe they don't need so many. The fact that they're moving second to last, and AI isn't really the faction that they're super worried is moving after them. You know, AI might come and join the fray, but they don't mind multi-combats, Oxatea. They're quite happy for more opportunities to win battles, so they don't really mind AI moving after them. They would mind about Drake moving after them, right? Just to come in and just really deal to their leaders after the fact.
And the really interesting thing here is that if I'm seeing things correctly, Rarians has 5 cards in his hand, so I would expect him maybe to spend some of those also during the round to get some bonuses, but we'll see.
The Rarins does have his pricing tokens back, apart from the 1. Fantastic. So Larian are going to be have a lot of options for how they price things next round, including the all-important 6 energy and the all-important 2 energy with a research bump, which I think all of the other players have made use of, which is a really nifty little tile.
Yeah, and he's got his 5 back. You know, he played that first round, so I have a feeling he might not even go for the 2. He might just want to keep making people pay.
Yeah, and being able to pivot that energy into fast-tracking recruits onto the map, to turn his leader squad into a golden squad of 3 leaders. To speak of the golden squad, though, we do have 2 players with 2 upgraded leaders so far. So Kenny has Akrilla and Link, who have both been upgraded. So he's got a little bit of a gold squad of his own. And Alex Shadowrun also has 2 golden leaders, except Onari was defeated in the last combat, so he's going to need to lick his wounds and pay the cost to get him out on the map.
We're going to see him come out. He's got a free leader during the recruit phase, so I imagine he's got the gems. We're going to see Onari come back out onto the map.
And it's fun to have all of those all of those recruit points to use. Now, the negative here is that AI have price moved so high, so these people needing to preserve 6 energy in order to pay the move cost means they can't spend as much of their energy fast tracking their troops, and they have to train them the old-fashioned way. 2 recruit points per fighter that comes out on the map.
Here comes Onari. All right, so Alex is pretty well set up. He's got 2 gems and 3 cards. So that's, that could be 3 battles. He'll only have a gem for 2 of them, but, maybe he can get a battle where he doesn't need to roll the die.
So I'm just thinking ahead to the movement phase. So it looks like Larian are going to be moving first. They've got the flare gun. AI have price moved last. So what do you do here as Larian with move first? there's quite a few swamp regions that are either uncontested or very weakly contested. Do you make a play for a lot of them with fewer units, or do you decide to just set up camp on something like Relic 5 and just be happy with holding the regions you already have and maybe claiming one more?
I think I would. AI is moving last, right? But I think I would definitely go for a spread with just a few units each. Just making people have to take out your morale, but because it'll be stronger, it'll be a real pain for them to do that, and they won't be gaining much. So, kind of putting one unit on each swamp is going to not really give AI much if they defeat it. He could take his Stomp Force onto Relic 5 to try and to secure that. I don't think anyone will be able to contest him there. Kenny, I don't think is strong enough to take on his Stomp Force, especially with morale down. So I think Rarians has a pretty good round here, and Larian actually gets quite a lot of fame on their second relic. As often Larian isn't really the faction winning the relic, so if they can, it gives them a huge boost.
Yeah, totally.
I think that Royce is really well set up for the game here. And if he wins Relic 5, he's gonna get a nice boost on his fame track.
So is there any concerns with that sort of approach when Oxytea is in the game, when Oxytea is moving after them? I'm just looking at where Oxytea are placed. They're within striking distance really of 3 swamp regions. There's the one that Rarians is built on just to the south, but then there's the other 2 that are connected to each other. If Rarians does do that approach of sort of spreading out amongst all of them, is that too many kind of free and nice and easy victories for Oxytea?
They're not really free because he would have out at least another 2. So you're saying a minimum of 3 strength on the morale, which is not free at all. It means Alex doesn't have a huge army, so Alex could maybe get 2 more fame. It's not a huge worry at this point in the game, but yeah, it's definitely a trade-off. The thing is, he doesn't really want to leave a lot of troops on each one because then AI might be tempted to come in for him. So it's not an easy decision, and that's the beauty of this game, is that according to who your opponent factions are, it really changes your decisions about where you want to distribute troops, which regions you want to go for, because you know what they want and you know what they're after. So AI makes things tough for him in terms of not leaving too many troops on each region, and Oxytea makes it tough in terms of not wanting to leave too few. So and Drake makes it tough in terms of not wanting to leave leaders around. So
yeah, and this right here is a play that I absolutely love to see. This is Larian not really necessarily playing to what their faction wants to do, but they're reading the table, they're reading the game state, and they're making a play for Relic 4. Now, the reason that I love this is that AI, I think, have missed an opportunity here to start putting strongholds on these relic regions and start placing traps. So what Rarians is making a play for is actually knock AI out of this region so that come the next round, 1, Larian are in a strong position to be able to claim that relic, but 2, it's going to be easier to fight AI there because they don't have the trap, and so they're not going to have to wound a unit to fight in that region. So I think this is a really nice play, reading the table and adapting to what other factions want to do here.
He is leaving Relic 5 quite undefended. Although Drake is not going to get a point on it this round, I could see Oxytea maybe running through to Relic 5.
Yeah, and this is another great way of reading the table. He's placed his one fighter that looks very vulnerable in a place where the players that would most want to take that down, Oxytea and AI, is the furthest from them. So those other 2 swamp regions that are close to AI and Oxytea, he has left them alone. He's respected the fact that he's moving first and he can't get everything he wants. And we do see one fighter going to that region as well. That makes some sense. He does have the extra movement there. But I think as far as first moves go, this is a pretty heads-up play here from Royce.
He's making hard decisions for the players that come after him, and I think that's what you have to do when you're moving first. Is you want to give people headaches. You know that everything's in their hands. They can see, they can make decisions with all the information open. But you want to make it so that they're going to have to choose between different things. Don't give them everything. You know, make them choose between where they're going to get something.
And this is where we have to give props also to Takana's decision really early on in the game of flipping that attribute cunning. Now, normally it doesn't give you a power spike at all. But now this region here where Rorans has wisely not added any fighters, so nothing to wound, it's still 2 fame on the table for AI. If they can win this combat and defeat these 2 leaders, they still get 2 fame, which is not nothing. Normally an AI would just kind of, if they don't get that avenue for winning fame in that region, they just don't care about it. But here, they can actually make the defensive play and get themselves in that position to perhaps, maybe just for me, build that trap next round on Relic 4 and knock Larian back 1 notch.
Something else interesting around. Yeah, there's 2 buildings to the northeast on the cliffs. And so that's another 2 fame just sitting there waiting for AI to pounce on. So
2 fame from that as well. This cunning flip was a really big brain play. Sorry, Zach, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's some really good options for AI moving last. Whether he'll have enough troops, enough cards to be able to get everything he wants, we'll see.
So we see that Kenny has played a card here, which is quite fascinating. Send any of your unpinned units from up to 2 regions to your base if you act in this phase. So he's consolidating all of his troops on his base.
He's coming for
Relic 4.
no
Movement points, and he's on his way to Relic 4. Is that what you're calling? Yeah, there's 2 leaders there. That looks so juicy.
No, actually, he might go.
He'll have to pay the pinning tax for sure, but
he might go for Oxatea. He's got 2 options with 2 leaders. But
here it comes.
He's doing it.
He's going to pay the pinning tax. Oh, this is beautiful to see. Okay, how many does he have to get pinned there? Now, it's important to note that Draic do get pinned by the outpost for two fighters. So this is more pinning than it looks. This is a pin of 9. And I think Kenny is on top of that. He's got 10 there. And we'll move these through. This is so spicy. Now, you would be forgiven for thinking that Relic 4 is the relic of this round, but it's not. We're just all giga-braining it for next round, all trying to get any little incremental advantage for the future round. Because, let's be honest, Takana has Relic 3. If Takana wants it, Takana can claim it with all of those troops that are ready to go. And now what do you do as Takana? Do you come in to Relic 4 and say, right, I wanted to claim these leaders off of Draic too?
I think it depends on what Alex does, because if it's possible for Takana to win Relic 4, he has how much movement? No, he doesn't have enough movement. If he had 4 movement, he could win on Relics, but he's 1 movement short.
And this is where the flare gun decisions come into play, don't they, Zach? So we see that Larian do have the first choice of combat. We have guaranteed that Relic 4 is a multi-combat region. So the player that picks first in that region can pick their opponent. The player that isn't picked will hang around to face the winner. And there is an opportunity where Larian pick AI and choose to lose in that region so that they don't feed Draic any fame from their leaders.
Or Larian could pick Draic in the swamp region and redeploy the bunch of troops that they have into Relic 4. So
many permutations. You love to see it. And the poor Rizo is still not allowed on the lake.
Okay.
This is very, very sad.
I would like to see Alex, and I don't think he's going to do it, but I would like to see him go north, he might do it north, northwest, and then up to Relic 5. He should have the movement.
Just claim as many free battles as possible. Yeah, it's a good play. He's staying away from any region. And the other thing that he's doing with this is he's actually... he's discouraging AI from coming after him. He's saying, hey, AI, there's easy fame for you elsewhere. Go and police everyone else. And so he's he's preserving his own fighters with a play like this, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, he's got one fight against AI there. I imagine he'll leave Tovati by yourself, maybe, but we'll see. If he leaves Tovati by yourself, then that is. So to be honest, I don't think he needed to move onto the lake for the extra movement. I think he had it anyway. No, he's taking Tovati up the top. I would have left Tovati with the AI troop by yourself and moved all the other troops up to Relic 5, because right now that battle in the swamp is looking juicy for AI.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Yeah.
You know, give them one fame instead of 3 or 4 possibility.
So Zach, is this where you, as Oxatea, do just leave one or two fighters there to not entice AI in, and then just opt for a 50-50? It looks like he will. I think he is going to have to leave a fighter there because he would be pinned at least for one.
Yeah.
I can't see a way. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, maybe.
I think this is actually good for
that's a
Oxatea, because bringing more fighters in is just drawing AI into that combat even more.
So
where
the thing
Oxatea
is,
probably want AI to come down to Relic 4 and fight amongst the swamp and the cliffs down in the.
Using Onari when he didn't need to because he already had 5 movement. Well, I think he picked up 1 unit, but he could have instead brought his Raizu through onto that AI.
Yeah.
And their AI hex, because Raizu cannot be wounded and they do not give fame to AI. So it's like the perfect unit to use against AI. So I think that would have kind of been a way better advantage on that swamp region to try and guarantee that battle.
I partially agree with you, Zach, but the dangerous thing about bringing Uruk into AI is that is the absolute best gift the AI could ever receive, is winning Uruk. That extra 2 strength and 2 attack coming into the late game would be so lovely. And in fact, maybe this is a play that Takana should go after. He maybe should just go after this Raizu, which is only 1 fame for defeating this building, but that extra 2 attack, being able to come into a region where he's got a leader, often is 2 wounds, because you can often be like fully shielded or only, shielded in such a way that you're only wounding 1 fighter. So that extra 2 attack on top usually is just straight up 2 wounds.
I feel like there's 2 free buildings right there, though. He's got so many free buildings to take fame from.
This has been such a spicy game, yeah, and he does go after those buildings. Interesting. Goes after Drake's building instead of the morale from Larian. Or are we going to see some more? The beautiful thing here is that actually Takana is allowed to, I think we're going to see 1 fighter left on that region. Takana is allowed to win Relic 3 with just 1 fighter.
Actually, I hope he's going to leave a fighter there.
Surely we're going to see 1 left behind. The tension is real. Tension is real. This cunning flip, I just can't stop talking about it. This has been really, really nice. There was also a play just to go hard on Relic 4 and just to opt into this multi-combat like crazy. One thing that has been interesting is Takana's decision to not use Zhao, because Zhao would be able to give him quite the economic advantage if he gets the research from.
So Takana here could either move on to the Oxatea battle and guarantee that 1 wound, but he could also move into Drake Cliffs is a bit harder to take on. So he's only made 2 moves right now. Oh, I'm not sure why
he's got too many good options here and not quite enough movement points to make
3 units. Yeah, okay. So he's going to.
Yeah, this makes sense. This makes sense.
But it's a lot of 50-50s for him, eh? Because right there, Larian has at the moment 3 strength, I believe, versus 3 of his. And Drake has 2 strength versus 2 of his strength. So those are 2 battles that he wants to win, and he's going 50-50.
It sort of feels to me like Takana is after the full golden attribute flip. Like he just wants everything turned to gold, right?
Well,
he wants to have the Midas touch.
Good, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. If he wins all those battles that he went into, he's flipping. and he's getting a relic. He's flipping 2 and getting a relic.
So whose position do you like here, Zach, after the movement in round 2? Sorry, round 3. Round 3.
So I think Oxatea almost perfect. I maybe would have left Inari against AI, but once again, that he gets fame from that. So if he can win all 3 of the battles, I'd say he's in a good position for round 4. Only needing 4 fame to win. Larian moving first has been hard on them. They could be wiped off the map. Drake, it's all going to depend on whether they win that battle or not. I can see Larian doing a redeploying their troops in to protect those leaders, or redeploying against AI to protect those leaders. So there's 2 ways they can get out of Drake's trap. So yeah, I feel like the best positions are Oxatea and AI, as you would expect, as the second to last and last player to move.
And we might have potential double retreat here. So in the case where both players choose to retreat, it is the player who has the highest strength that gets to retreat. In which case, the player with the lowest strength is the combat victor. They have to stay in that region because the highest strength player earned the right to retreat. So we might even see that rule come into play here. Be interesting to see what each player wants, because clearly Relic 4 is the highest stakes region here.
Yeah, so one thing to notice is that I think actually Kenny has got that. He's got the most strength. So I didn't realize he had upgraded Link. So Link's worth 5 strength. So Kenny's sitting on 13, whereas from what I can see, Larian is sitting on 12. So it's not. So Larian's only way out of this is to redeploy against AI, which I think they might be choosing to do now. Potentially.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Now, if Larian did have the opportunity, they did choose this battle, didn't they? So they did have the opportunity to choose a different battle, say, versus AI in the southeast, and chose to redeploy into this region here. But it's clear that Relic 4 is the one that matters to them. And so the redeploy into Relic 4 can only happen from the region that they've chosen.
Oh, so we are seeing Drake against Larian. So I think Rarians is confident to win that battle.
They have both chosen to retreat. Whoa, there's a lot of pings coming onto TTS right now. I'm not sure how that happened, but they've both chosen to retreat. And so we will see that actually Drake is the one who earns the right to retreat.
Rarians has done 3 wounds to him, though. From
3 wounds. That is very important because Kenny didn't seem to have the cards to be able to play. And so doesn't have any shields in that region. So it's going to lose 3 fighters before getting to retreat the other 5 into that region.
Yeah, if I was Rarians, I think I would have just fought the battle on the relic instead, because right now, I mean, he's just lost any chance he had, I guess.
Yeah, and 2 fame here for Drake would be really, really strong. But we do have the option for it is Drake's fight now, isn't it? So they are definitely not going to allow Larian to get away with a redeploy against AI. So this is going to be 2 fame coming in for Drake, which is super, super powerful. They're going to be in control of Relic 4 going into round 4. So I would say that they have the initiative now at this point in the game, though there's still plenty of time left, for sure.
Definitely, I think he's going to win this next battle. He turns the game on its head, because from a position where he was 4 fame to win, and from a position where Rarians could have actually denied him these 2 points as well, he will be moving within 2 points of the victory. So
Now, the good thing for the table is that Draic have not claimed a relic yet, and they're not going to be claiming relic 3. So that second relic gaining of fame isn't going to kick in till at round 5 at the very least at this point. And so that's actually kind of off the cards for Draic. So they're going to, in my opinion, they're going to have to go after fame the old-fashioned way, just from defeating leaders. So they still have to take 2 leaders down. So maybe one of the things is that Alex Shadowrun doesn't keep his leaders together, because being able to win the game from one more combat against 2 leaders, or a leader in a...
Bring in 3 more damage. So Kenny really needs to protect his troops now. I think we'll see him playing shields. Wow.
He does play 1 shield, and of course Royce decides to redeploy, keeping his leaders alive. Yes, Draic do get 2 fame, which is really powerful for them, but it looks like Draic will lose 2 fighters. But he is also gaining 2 recruit points from his fame track, so it's not too terrible. Let's just make sure that...
Did he lose his fighters, though? I don't think he's...
Krilla has 1 shield, and Hulk has
from...
2 shields. Yeah, so he actually had shields from his leader and Raizu. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Well, Rarins is still in a good position here. Rarins still has that morale on his base. He's got that region that he managed to win against Draic because they redeployed out. If he can win this combat against AI on the swamp in the southeast, then he's going to be still getting 2 fame this round. Here we have a nice free win for Oxatea. And these battles where it's a free win, what sort of things are going through your head? Are you thinking about preserving a card? Are you thinking about trying to keep your troops alive because they could just go for attack and just be really mean? Are you thinking about the attrition for the opponent and trying to wound them? What kind of plays do you normally go for here, Zach?
So I generally try and conserve my resources, because I'm also a player who will normally go for more battles than I have resources for. So I'm then trying to tactically decide which battles to spend my resources in to maximize victories. Obviously, sometimes in Alex's case, he doesn't have any leaders with shields, so he has to also think about the fact that his opponents can easily wound him. So, but instead he played for strength, just to make sure he was going to win the battle. He didn't spend a gem on this battle though, so he just secured it with a card. Now he's got 2 cards, 2 gems, and 2 battles left, so he's feeling pretty confident.
Now, we had this sort of heads-up play from Royce where Rarins, I should say, Rarins, when losing this morale, he decided to not keep his income of fame, just realizing that actually he's going to be losing more morale this round, and so make use of the extra strength rather than the income for the rest of this round, for at least for the next combat, just to make sure that he can win one of these combats with that extra strength, and then eventually it will get lost when he loses another morale. So I like this play. He's not going greedy. He's just trying to make the most of every single strength he can get.
I think this battle here from Oxatea, you're happy to give AI 1 fame. You don't care. You want to win the battle, and they can wound your troop. There's a good chance there. But Takano doesn't have that many cards, so I think Alex could easily go for just either a dice roll or 1 card, and he'd have this in the bag.
But the other factor at play here is that if Takana can manage to both win the combat and do a wound, not only is he getting a fame, but he's looking at getting those extra attribute flips, which still are super powerful and worth pursuing for AI.
True.
One of these attributes here, Ominous, is the one that gives AI 1 extra attack in every battle they have without any leaders. that would pay off dividends if he can manage to flip it, holding at least 5 regions, but maybe 7. 7 would be the way to flip both for AI. Yeah, and that's right in his stomping zone for potential fame targets for next round. Alex does not have that many troops on that region, and it's looking kind of hard for him to reinforce it with a bunch of units spread out amongst the map. So he might want to reinforce that next round with either an outpost or a stronghold play, being able to deploy troops there. Or I don't know. I don't know if you can be happy handshaking with Drake, giving up a fame for some other exploits on the map.
Definitely not at this point in the game. You cannot give Drake any more fame. I think, especially, I mean, Drake can win on the next round if they can get 2 leaders. You don't even want to give them 1 fame next round. You want them to be trying to get 2 fame in round 5. Well, you're trying to get your last fame as well. So I feel like the next round, if any fame's given up to Drake, it could almost be game. But then again, sometimes I've seen Drake denied their last fame, especially if they're needing to just get 1 battle. Players just denying that, not letting any leaders out there, not giving them any chance. It's worth remembering that Kenny still has Cataran, so he still has the possibility to give another Raizu to a player. I don't think he'll be getting any attribute flips, so the player will get to decide where to place it.
Yeah, that's totally true. And the other thing to bear in mind is where the flare gun is. So the flare gun is now sitting with Rarens, the Larian player. So if it goes how we sort of expect it to go, you'd say that Larian would pricing move last, most likely. And so that would make Drake the first player to move, which should be in the table's benefit. Now, Drake of all factions don't mind too much moving first, especially if there are leaders on the map that they are able to pin and they can just get in their face and block them. So we'll see how Kenny decides to do that move first, if he does. But right now we are resolving a combat. Where is this combat, Zach? We've got Drake facing AI. Is that on Relic 4?
I think I'm not sure if it's the Relic 4 or the building. It's the building. It's
the building on the swamp.
Yeah, so that's been taken out. That's another fame to AI.
Yeah, very nicely done. And does Drake opt for any wounds there?
I actually have a feeling that Drake might decide to redeploy against AI on Relic 4 like they did in the other round to get their troops all back on base. To make it easier to pin the Oxatea leader.
So that's a really interesting take, and the only negative to that, and maybe it's a positive, is that the Raizu will disappear. The Raizu will go to AI, which maybe is something that he wants to happen, so he doesn't have to fund that Raizu. And of all the Raizu to give to AI, you don't mind AI getting some shields.
And once again, he still has Cataran, so he can drop down his strongest Raizu for the next round and try and win the game. Before the other players can get there. Another thing to remember is that Royce has his 2 leaders still on the map. So they're always going to be grouped together. And that's a prime target for Kenny. So Royce needs to make sure he doesn't give Kenny any more opportunities to take those 2 out.
Here we have combat between the first of 2 combats between AI and Larian here. Very, very spicy indeed. I'm liking this Takana game plan, just slowly but surely gaining fame. Did we see him gain the fame from that outpost? I imagine we did. He's now on 2 fame.
This could if he could win and wound the troops, this is a potential for fame.
Yeah, that would be massive.
He's at a disadvantage.
Yeah, so right now, Larian have got 4 strength versus 3 of AI. Well, it's all in the balance, isn't it, Zach? I mean, I wouldn't say anyone's having a bad game here. Everyone is putting up some fame points going into round 4.
I think we've seen some key. I think more than anything else, we've seen a couple of mistakes, I would call them, in terms of Alex in the last round Rarians in this round, they haven't been fatal mistakes, but they have been mistakes that have shifted the balance of power and
Yes.
have shifted the advantage in different directions. So it's still in the balance. And as I said, I like to say about Draic, they are the easiest faction to win on against players who make lots of mistakes, and they're the hardest faction to win on against players who don't make any mistakes. So as you see, Kenny's capitalized on a mistake, but if the other players can manage to outplay him in the next round, the next 2 rounds, they could deny those last 2 fame. And I think that's going to be key, because he is at a potentially easy victory if he can find those 2 victories against leaders. But if they can manage to hold out, to hide their leaders away, to reinforce where they have leaders, to deny him the possibility of getting those 2 fame, I think it's up in the air, especially for Larian and Oxatea. AI, I can only really see them winning on Relics at this point, because he's still moving too slowly up the fame track. It's right, he's flipped all his, not all his attributes, but he's flipped a number of attributes, and so he could potentially get 4 fame for every victory and move up the track very quickly. But it's a really big ask, especially in the next round. There's no way he can win on fame. Maybe in round 5 that could happen, but he has to get to round 5, so that's not a given. So if I was AI, I'd be looking to win.
And Relic 4 has been snatched out of their hands. But one of the things I like to do as AI playing against Larian is just to put a stronghold on those swamp regions. And Takana is in control of 2 swamp regions. That's just so annoying for Larian. You know, they want those swamp regions to gain morale and then to get fame. And just having to pay that tax of losing a fighter each time you do it, AI get fame. It's a really, really nice play.
So interestingly, Takana flipped over destructive. So that means he has no longer any limit to gaining fame according to how many groups he has in a battle. So he's no longer gated, shall I say. So it's easy for him to now win 4 fame victories, which could zoom him up the track. I mean, he only needs to win 4 battles with maximum fame to win the game. But winning maximum fame in a battle is not simple.
Good shout. Now, would you have flipped Ominous here, Zach, just gaining that extra attack? How much do you value that extra attack in every combat without leaders versus just getting rid of that negative?
Yeah, I think I would have flipped Ominous. Just having that 1 extra attack, it's the difference between getting no fame or 1 fame, and it can be the difference between getting 3 fame and 4 fame. So as long as you're not overkilling on your attack, like Ominous is great. And so I'm not sure if he's made the right call, but we'll see how it plays out.
We do see that AI is a little poor in the gem department, even though when the harvest phase comes around, they will get 2 gems back. But perhaps that was the decision to preserve the gem that they would have had to spend on flipping that attribute. Phase is coming. They have all the resources that they need to be able to take the recruit and move actions. And so they're going to just, as much as they can, they're going to be using their energy that they store up from the harvest phase to fast track their recruits in their recruit phase. They've got 9 recruit points. We're going to be seeing a lot of purple fighters out on the map, just trying to get ahead of the curve, like we've been talking about for the whole game, trying to stay ahead of Draic's potential combat force. And Draic are needing to split, as we've been talking about, into 2 different areas, as long as Oxatea stays split in multiple areas too. So I think Alex would like his chances of staying ahead of Draic's strength potential. Yeah,
it's gonna, for this round, it could be the difference between winning 2 or 3 battles, and for the next round as well, he's going to gain a card in each move phase, which is key to victory with Oxatea.
Yeah.
So that could be a really game-defining.
And you do feel like he needs the cards. Actually, just looking at the cards in every player's hands, us as casters, we can't actually see what's in there, which adds to the suspense. But everyone but Drake is kind of lacking in the card department. They're fighting more battles than they can handle, than they have the resources for. Whereas Drake can be a little more discerning about the battles they choose to use cards on. If there's a leader I'm facing, use card. If there isn't, maybe I don't need to use one.
It just really shows that this economy that Drake set up on their cliffs, which no one wanted to touch, has really been funding all of their
exploits.
war, all of their war exploits. So I think it's another thing that people underestimate is taking away people's buildings can have a big effect on them. So as we see in this game, if Oxatea maybe earlier had gone around and taken out some of Drake's buildings, it could have been a different story.
So it looks like we're on to the recruit phase here. No, still harvest phase, because Rarins did manage to recruit 3 of his fighters in the harvest phase, and we're going to be moving through to the recruit phase. And what I want to see is if anyone is able to and wants to deploy another leader onto the map, which is a double-edged sword going up against Drake, but feels like you want to take any little edge, any little advantage you can get, and so often that desperation does lead to bringing a leader out onto the map.
I feel like this is the moment when Oxatea might bring out either Latanya or Azaru. Latanya could win extra battles, but we'll see.
Latanya is fantastic for these kinds of plays. Like I can see that cliff region in between relics 5 and 6. That looks like a region where Latanya could set up camp and redeploy fighters between those 2 relic regions. Offers a lot of versatility. Obviously, Azaru is super powerful as well. If you're low in the card department, Azaru is going to give you a card before each battle, which is just the flexibility that you need, right? Sometimes you don't even use the card that you draw, but just being able to have like more options is fantastic.
So I just want to talk about this recruitment from Kenny. So before the game, I asked some questions to each of the players, and Kenny had told me about his strategy and his leader squad, and he said when it gets to late game, I bring out Kajali, and that's exactly what has happened. Now Kajali is really a key leader for Drake in the late game, in that he doesn't let other players choose a battle in that region, which meant, for example, we were talking earlier about how Rarins maybe should have denied Drake those 2 leaders by choosing to fight against AI and retreat against them. That with Kajali cannot happen. Drake chooses the battle in that region. And it can also mean if there's a region where there's 2 leaders, and we've seen Azaru come out, so he chose Azaru instead of Latanya, and I think that's because he is struggling in terms of card income, so Azaru gets the extra card every round, which could make the difference for him.
Yeah, I understand that completely. Now, I'll be interested to see if Alex decides to actually pick up that Raizu and use that to add to his potential squad. Now, that does make him more of a target for Drake, but it does get him to that really nice stomp force. So far, he hasn't used that Raizu to his own advantage here. I wonder if this is a time for Alex to go after Rarins, just to slow Rarins down. Those are looking like some battles that he might be able to win, or if he just plays it safe and tries not to feed the red beast.
Well, the advantage he has is he's going to move after Drake, so he's going to have to respond to whatever Kenny does. If Kenny leaves him alone, then I think he can go after Royce to try and stop Royce from winning. If Kenny comes for him, he can protect himself and try and not lose those leaders. And I think he's going to have to double up on his leaders to do that, right? So he's going to need to create a battle that if Kenny won, it's game over. But he needs to create such an advantage that it's impossible for Kenny to win.
Now I have to take my socks off to count how many AI fighters there are on the space. There's a lot of fighters ready to go, and I'm so eager to see how they spread. You know, one of the things I like to do if you do flip Ominous is just to leave 4 fighters in every region you can as AI. Have that one extra attack in regions where there's no leader, and just plan to play into the double attack slot. Now, for that kind of game plan, you do need to have a lot of cards to be able to do that multiple times, especially in regions where there might be multi-combats. But there are other game plans, maybe what Taken is going for, of having a bigger stomp force and going for 1 or 2 really key regions and trying to get 4 fame in each of those and police other players at the same time.
Yeah, I think one of the things that concerns me is he's not really set up for relic victory in this round. I don't see a way that he can really get to all of the relics, even if the opportunity did arise. So I don't see us getting to the end of round 5. So he needs to go for the fame victory now. So he needs to go for getting as much fame as he can in as many battles as he can. He only has 2 cards at the moment. Is that right? So 3, I think. So that's potential. If he can get max fame from each of the battles, that could be 12 fame. That could set him up for round 5. But he's slightly behind the pace, so he needs to have a perfect round now.
Yeah, totally. Hey, Zach, how about you tell us a little bit more about maybe what some of the questions you asked before the game? I just got to nip off for a second, and I'll be back with you soon.
Well, I also asked all the players the reason why they picked their faction. So this is a very asymmetric game, and the factions are all vastly different, have different objectives. So as I already mentioned, that Kenny picked his because of their unpopularity and that he knew he would get to play with them. Takana picked his faction because he liked the fact that he would have the advantage of pricing first, and he also liked the fact that AI is quite strong against Drayek because they don't necessarily have to risk leaders with all the troops that they have. Resvarians thought he would be able to go a bit under the radar with Larian. I'm not sure he's managed at this game because he had such a good round 1 that he kind of put a target on his head. Whereas Alex just thinks the pricing token for Oxatea, the fact that they get to do the auxiliary for free, is
can't do much more than that. He might need to leave a leader in that swamp region, just because he's got 3 leaders.
He can go for redeploy antics as he did the last time, but okay, he's got a lot of leaders over there now. Okay, he's leaving Cataran over there. He's bringing through this force, I think, Pajali probably.
Oh, yeah, going for Shao. Yeah.
Yeah. But AI's got so many troops. It's not too much of a worry, is it?
It's interesting because from Drayek's base, they could have gone sort of down in the southwest manner, using 4 move points, going through the AI trap, but in that way they wouldn't have been pinned quite as much, and then still made a play from Relic 4 to Shao.
Well,
they would be much stronger against Oxatea.
Yeah, he could have also gone for Onari, or doubling up Onari, Uruk, and then going for Zhao, so that he had 3 options. But it's hard. He's moving first. Everyone's going to be able to react to him. I don't think he's going to even gain any points this round. So he's going to want to set himself up with the relic, I think, to get potential 2 points in the next round. But yeah, I don't know. He's in a tricky situation, I think, now.
So we have Kenny letting us know that there's a big think tank. He's just hopping in the tank for a little bit of a think, which is all good. I understand how important moving first is. I do quite like the call out, Zach, that you made a little bit earlier about pushing for relic victory. You don't push for it expecting that you're going to win, but you are pressuring people to respond to you, right? And you are sort of forcing them to do what you want. So things are on your terms rather than them just getting free reign to do what they want. And it is in line with his objectives, right? Relic 5 looks like a region he could conceivably win. There's not too much resistance there from Oxatea, and Relic 6 as a cliff region, so he does have some natural boost there.
Well, as we said, Oxatea has 6 movement now, and they only need 5 battles to win. So if you go into Relic 5, you're forcing them into committing a large part of their army to not losing that leader. Whereas, I mean, he still is doing so by moving his Link and Cataran into this region. But still, Oxatea is going to be able to do some damage, I think. I mean, Kenny's got 2 buildings up there that he's left alone. That's almost free, although there could be a tricky tunnel redeploy up there. So watch out for that.
The other part that I find interesting about Kenny's move here is the way that he ended up with his leaders how they are. So it felt like there was an opportunity here to bring in Hulk with Kajali, or simply using Aquila, but probably bring in Hulk with Kajali so that you have those extra shields against AI. And if you still wanted to have this same distribution,
No. Sorry, Alex is falling into the trap. He's falling into the trap. Let's see if he realizes.
Oh no! Tunnel gameplay redeploy is on.
That means Kenny's getting a point if this if Alex stops there. I hope he realizes, because this is gifting a point to
That's crazy. Oh my goodness. Now, what is your policy, Zach, when things like this happen at the table? As a player, say you're playing as Larian and you're not one of the two parties, do you tell them about it?
Yeah, I totally tell them. You know, like, I don't want to. And I hope someone at the table tells them, because that's one of those murky areas, right? But the game is very much a kind of table talky sort of game. I mean, obviously, if you're the Drake player, you're hoping that no one realizes, right? You're quiet, but yeah, Kenny, I'm sure he's Kenny's seen it straight away. He's the kind of player that's seen it. Yeah, he's been quiet. I'm not sure if any of the other players have seen it. I saw it coming. Oh, mate. Yeah. So what I was going to say is the fact that they might be calculating strength in this region to see if the mountain man will go across to join the fray. It's tense. I'm tense. Oh, I'm sure Kenny has seen the redeploy play. So after this redeploy, does Alex decide to redeploy from that cliff region to strengthen to bolster his forces on that? Well, the interesting thing is if he was to come in with Ayla and Evie, no, he's not. He's going in there. He could have done enough damage to the Drake troops to make it a possible victory for Alex, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like that. And this is where the game thrives. Like, I love this game plan here from Rarens to be greedy, but this is where it thrives for factions like AI and Oxatea. They want everyone to be absolutely stretched to the limit in terms of resources, in terms of going for lots of fighters. So now that here there's this 4v2 on the swamp region. So that is within Alex's grasp. He does have a lot of resources here for these fights. 4 gems, 3 cards, but actually Azaru makes it 4 cards this round. So he is going to be able to pay top dollar for each of these combats that he's in, or nearly all of them. And with everyone stretched so thin, this is where Oxatea can sneak quite a few victories. Yeah, I think the Tovati one is just going to be a redeploy without a card, right? So unfortunately, if Kenny sees it, if he redeploys, then that's I don't know. I mean, he could go for it. He could go for it. I want to hear what's happening. Oh dear. We'll ask them about that. Maybe we'll jump in there at the end of this round. We'll see. It is getting late. I should point out that it's 1 a.m. in New Zealand, and
I'm not sure. It must be about 8 a.m. in Montana for Royce, who got up at 3 a.m. for this game.
Looks like we're going probably to the next round as well, guys. So
yeah, I expected a 4-hour game, so we'll see.
When everything's on the line, it's people take a lot more time to make decisions as well.
I've been pleasantly surprised at the level, though, of these players. I mean, of course, they've earned their way into the final, but they didn't fluke it. So here's the thing: do you use a card here to redeploy? You want to get as many of those fighters into that region as possible, right?
I don't think Larian going to waste a card on it. Oh, they have a lot, don't they? Do they? No.
Well, Larian want to win this, and I don't know. Do they ever think that maybe they don't see it? Well, maybe they
didn't
do see it.
Didn't see it. No one saw it.
Yep, here it comes.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. And they all stay alive.
Into the relic, but I don't think he will.
Wait, is he going in there?
Oh, okay.
No way. Oh, no way. He goes up north instead. I mean...
Okay. That's much better. Yeah. I guess
feel that's better?
It's a game win.
It's a game win. It's a game win. Yeah, it's a game win. I see. Now, does Oxatea have to redeploy from just this region against Larian AI just to get 2 more fighters in there?
Yeah, probs. What are our strengths at? Cataran's 3. Link is 5. He's such a beast. So that's 8 plus another 7. We're at 15 against 14, I think.
Now, has the combat been chosen?
No, against 13.
Yeah.
Okay, so
this is for the win. I mean, here are we talking about the free win that Drake had against Tovati, but Kenny wants the ultimate win to win the game, which makes a lot of sense. So do you redeploy here as Oxatea to try and get those 2 fighters in?
I think you do. And you
Just
probably
to keep the game
say
alive?
You probably do it against I mean Larian's got a lot of attack. You probably do it against AI and be like, hey, let's shake hands, but they might not do that. They might attack you anyway.
Well, Onari is offering 1 shield, which is nice.
Yeah. It's hard to shake hands because there's a lot of attack going on here with upgraded. I'm surprised that Rowan's didn't upgrade Eevee, but I guess he wanted to keep his gems. Yeah, he's going for it.
Yeah, so those 2 extra fighters might be the difference maker. Now, it's kind of only 1.5 fighters because he has lost the tiebreak in sequencing this way.
Yeah.
Big plays. This is where you really hope you have a 6 in your hand, right? For the next fight.
Yes, you do.
Yep. Oh, he doesn't play any shields, and AI lets him have it. Yeah, there's the respect play. Yep. So AI realized the game is on the table.
But you know what? You know what happens though? AI loses their fight.
Yeah, AI do lose this. Yes, this is true.
I don't know if they're going to realize. Too busy shaking hands.
Oh, this is so tense. I'm just sitting there looking at that battle. There's other battles we have to get through before we have that potential game-winning battle.
Okay, so now it's 15-15 if I counted correctly.
Yeah. Drake with tiebreak. The good thing for Oxatea is if they don't have a 6 in their hand, they will get to draw 1 card for that combat. So that might give them the desired card.
I reckon Kenny will have a good card if he's gone into that Hail Mary. I think with a worse card, he just goes for the free win against Doherty. Although I guess it wouldn't have been free, but it would have been a decent advantage.
Where are we fighting now? AI is fighting on Relic 4 against Drake. Oh, AI have shields because of the redeploy. They gain... Oh, wait. They gain 1 energy and 1 attack when factions redeploy. But they did have a shield. Okay, I see. Onari had a shield.
But Onari has attack though, doesn't he?
Yeah, but AI played a shield. They played 1-1 on shield.
But he's got 2 attack.
I'm not sure then. They seem to think they had 2 shields. Maybe I missed the card.
Okay.
So we had redeploy from Drake. Kenny is he's a masterful tactician. Like, he is using redeploy a lot in this game. And he has done very well so far in this tournament. The way that he uses those redeploys is something to learn from, for sure. So now we have Larian. Attempting to take down AI.
Yeah, probably.
Should be a pretty easy victory for Larian. Now, Larian this round will get a fame from winning with Ayla. And then they're on track to perhaps have 3 more fame. So they're going to be right on the cusp.
No, they could have 4 more if they win these 2 battles, right? Oh, they've got AI coming against them here. No, they could have 4 more.
Yeah.
So he'll be 1 point off. But none of it matters if Drake wins the battle.
This is where the whole table is hoping that Alex knows how to roll the die. He needs to take tips from you, Zach. You're Mr. 4 Meister. Always comes up 4 for you.
Just when it counts.
Only when it matters, I guess, yeah. What do you do on TTS? You got to hit R several times, right? You can't just let it do a sad little flip, right?
Yeah. TTS is kind of annoying. I think if you select it and then you go R, because the problem is if you just put your mouse over it, you roll it really badly.
The calm before the storm.
Larian. Okay. So what did he do? To attack. You got buildings. Don't know what happened. Okay.
Yeah, so Larian won that combat. They get a fame and a morale down.
Nice. Did they gain their fame? Yes, they did. Well, this is the moment of truth, guys. Will Kenny be the world champion? Circadians Chaos Order.
I wonder if we should go into their chat now. What do we think? I think we'll go over into their chat.
Okay.
Just keep talking.
Yeah.
We're going to listen.
All right. Well, I'm ready when you are.
Give me a, give me a sec.
Did you draw a tactics card?
Yeah. I use a card.
Okay, cool. I was about saying, did you
No,
draw
did you-
one?
No, like Basil.
No. I have a leader. Yes, then draw a tactic card. Okay, I can use it in this turn. This card.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, just to make sure. So you might draw
Okay.
something good.
Thank you. Let me
take that one back, kid.
Yeah. That cost
That was,
me the
good.
championships.
Good fair play there, Kenny.
No,
Okay.
it's fair. It's what his
Kenny.
leader does.
Thank you, Kenny. But I use the card I select before. I don't use the new card. Okay.
All right, I'm just going to make sure I'm on the right things. It's 15 to. I'm just going to make sure all the strength count is right. So it's 3 plus
This is crazy.
5 is 8 plus another 7 is 15. Over here it's 4 plus there's 11 troops. I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. So it's 15 to 15. I've got the tiebreaker.
Let's see these rolls. Let's see these rolls.
Moment of
Oh,
truth.
yeah.
Added
5.
5?
Yeah, I've got a 5.
No.
Reveal,
Okay, Kenny. I
reveal.
go to take a shower. You wait for me 20 minutes.
No. Reveal. The suspense is
Reveal,
killing
reveal.
us.
No problem. You are ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reveal.
Just a 3. Okay,
Oh,
so
no.
I'm 2 up at the moment.
Right.
Okay.
Aye,
Of
aye, aye.
course. Yeah.
All right.
Of course.
So I
It's
think,
like
I think the only way I lose this fight
Yeah.
is if I
A one
roll
and
the
a 4.
1 and he rolls the 4, right?
It can happen.
Yeah.
It could
What's
happen.
that, 136.
Yeah.
All right. You ready? Should I
You
do it
have
same
a
time?
5 on card. 5 on card.
Yeah,
I
5.
hate you, but in a good way.
All right. You ready?
Ready, roll.
3, 2, 1. Let's do it.
Oh, he's
I got
rolling 2.
2.
Congratulations,
No.
Kenny.
Congratulations, Kenny.
Oh,
Kenny, great,
World
great
champion
battle.
for Circadians Chaos Order. Congratulations, dude.
Well done, Kenny.
Great job.
wow, that was close.
Great battle, Kenny. Great
Yeah,
battle.
really close, man. It's funny. At the start of this, we were like, let's not fight this round. I think you missed it, Sam, but we were like, let's just be friends. And I said, that's okay. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a guy here to take my friend back. That's all.
Yeah. But when you retreat from here to here, it all
Well, I
goes
didn't-
bad.
I didn't
All
expect
goes
you to
out.
leave a second.
All goes out.
I didn't expect you to leave a second leader behind. I was actually going to, originally, my plan was to retreat from here to here.
Yeah.
That's what
And I
we
was-
thought you were going to do.
Yeah, I was going to beat up that leader, right? Because I had 2 strength natively and I would have had 7 on top. So I would have been able to get that 1 fame. And then I would have tried to like move last next round.
Mhm.
I would have
I
won.
wanna ask you a
would have won at the end
question.
of this round.
Yeah.
Royce,
Yeah.
Rarians, did you consider relic victory this round?
I did, but this looked too big to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was fair because AI could have redeployed the other 10 troops into it. So, but I think, yeah, at least you would have stopped Kenny's shenanigans with his redeploying. So,
Yeah.
I was actually really nervous that Rarens was going to redeploy here.
I was
And-
thinking about that. I was thinking about preventing you from doing that and just losing it. Because I would have had all of my morale out. So last round I would have just
Yeah.
put it there and then I would have won anyways. Probably.
Yeah. Because you started on, you would have gone to, what is it? This round you're going to 13, yeah? From Fame?
Yeah.
No, I'd be at 5. It'd be 5. So
Oh, the last one is 2. Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right.
so I would have won.
It was so close.
Yeah. Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
Well, we just want to say thank you to all of you guys for playing this tournament. That was a fantastic match for us to watch. I haven't watched many matches in this tournament, and that was really a good amount of fun. I think you all had some really interesting game plans. Also, thank you. If we've got any viewers, I'm not sure if any stuck around with the issues with the stream quality and all of that. But if you did stick around, thank you so much. If you watched the VOD, thank you so much. We might just ask like 1 or 2 more questions of you guys, if that's all good. But firstly, I want to say to Kenny, congratulations. Seriously, amazing tournament. You swept the whole tournament with Drake. We are going to offer you any Garphill game from the catalog, any game that you like. We'll send it your way as just a way of saying, well done, congratulations. And you also might get a special color on our Discord server so people will know that you are the Chaos Order champion. How does it feel, mate?
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, this was a really, really tight final game, right? Like, because I mean, this is only the third game of the tournament for me. And so I felt like the first game I had pretty good control. Like, there wasn't many turns where I feel like things didn't quite go my way. And in the second game, Rarens was in it, and it was a pretty quick one.
Mm-hmm.
So this was like a real struggle. Like, I didn't go into this round expecting to win it. I was really hoping to just get one fame from somewhere and just try and secure the move to win, like on the next round.
Yeah.
But then
after you moved, I didn't expect you to get any fame in this round.
Yeah.
Because
After everything, I was just like, everything's going to go badly, right? But yeah, it turns out I got 2 fame, which was not part of the plan.
Well done.
Yeah, so it was very, very tense, I had to think so much more. Like, I felt bad because there was that one move, I think it was this turn, where I had to sit and think for like 8 minutes or something, where I was just like, where do I even go?
Yeah, I thought that your use of redeploy all throughout the game was really fascinating and super powerful. Like, obviously it was the game-winning play at the end, but you also did it into this region out of Relic 4. You did it early game just in order to get all of your units back to base. There were some really clever uses of redeploy there, so well done.
Thank you. You got to do it when you move first. You've got to kind of do it like that.
Yeah. Zach, any questions for any of the players?
No, I think my main question was around the route victory. Maybe Takana, what was your kind of plan going into this round?
Well, I didn't think that Jericho was going to get 2 fame in this round. To be fair, I think he got a little bit lucky there. If I could have contained him in this round, I would have gone for a kill or relic win next turn. So I had the troops, because I would have taken the 4. I would have been up to, hopefully on this battle, I would have got 4 wins, or at least 2 wins. I would have been in shouting distance of my fame win next turn.
Yeah.
If I didn't get the relic.
Yeah, you sort of won the arm race to having like you were like the most powerful faction. You had like all those golden attributes. You had a lot of the leaders flipped as well, and you had the most fighters out on the map. So it was really interesting to watch, to see like how you were going to pivot your strength on the board and turning all of that into fame. And getting into a bunch of those combats in that last round seemed like it was going to get you within striking distance for round 5. So nicely done.
I misplayed on this one really. After we won that one, get all the fame from that, I'd have been a bit closer.
Yeah.
But, the strength is good, but then if other players, it depends on the table how the other players are playing. If somebody else is getting the win before you, there's nothing you can do about it really. So that's one of the good parts of the game. It's anybody could win it really. Even if you're the strongest person on the table, you could still lose, which is really good.
Totally.
That's fantastic.
Thank you guys so much. It's been a brilliant game to commentate on, and me and Sam have had a really good time talking about it as well.
I want to say one thing. Can I?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
Me and Kenny are still friends till the next championship.
Oh, we're great friends.
Okay.
You love to hear it.
Hopefully you'll see each other in next year's final,
Yeah. It was really good. And I think as well, like, what really threw me off in that early game was when like Alex jumped on me on turn 1, and I was like, oh, okay, like, that's not good. So that wasn't part of the plan. Being on 0 fame on turn 1 was not, and no relic was not part of the plan. So that was really good.
Yeah,
another thing that me and Sam discussed was that Royce could have redeployed against AI to stop you from getting 2 fame against Evie and Ayla, and that completely would have shut you down. Like, you wouldn't have, I don't think you would have had any chance.
Yeah, I think there was discussion around that.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but Raren's, what was it? you chose this fight instead, and then I think the intention was to retreat and redeploy into here to try and win.
Yeah.
Because I had more strength. That was when I asked you the question, Sam.
Yeah. All right, one more quick question for all of you. If this tournament happened again, who would be your number one pick as your faction? I'll start with Alex. Would you stick with Oxataya?
I like the Oxataya, but I don't know. I may choose the Circadians. It's a difficult faction, really difficult, but I like to try it. Circadians in the tournament.
And then I'll move to Kenny. Would you, now that you've done it with Drac, is it time to move on?
That's a good question. So I was going to say, like, I feel like I really do quite like Drac, so I'd consider playing them again. But if not, then I would probably, I don't know, maybe I'd challenge myself. I've actually said at the start, Takana, that you were the player that I was the most concerned about. And it's because I don't understand AI. Like, I cannot make them work. And so the fact that you were playing them here and I'm like, well, I just don't understand what you're going to do and I'm not going to understand your game plan. So maybe I'd go for AI next year to just try and give it a go.
And Takana won other games with them as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was just like, oh, someone who actually knows what they're doing with it. I don't know. Yeah.
Awesome. And Royce, I thought your Larian was super solid. You managed to rocket up that fame track round 1 and you didn't really stop. You didn't let up. So would you stick with Larian or would you move to a different faction?
I'll probably stick with Larian in the beginning. I think it's interesting to play it to switch your kind of allegiance or rankings depending upon who you're playing against.
Nice.
Just like knowing the players. So I'd probably start Larian like in the first round, and then change depending upon what everyone else does after.
Awesome. And finally, Takana, AI for life or something else?
I think it's as Royce says, it depends on who the players. If you know what the player's going to be going for, then you can tailor your play to try and match them, or please the other people if you can. It's the whole game is relying on what other players do, not what you do. So it's not so much luck. It's more waiting and seeing and taking your opportunities when you can.
Yeah, fantastic. And that definitely was one of the design goals for this game, is noticing each faction's exclusion, not just their inclusion. So like a game like this, knowing that Skaro isn't in the game, we're not so much on the clock for research, that sort of thing. And we know that our buildings are a little more safe. Well, we won't take any more of your time. So just want to say thanks again to everyone for competing in the tournament. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a great night, morning, evening, day, wherever you are. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank
you.
No worries. Thanks. It was really, really close. I really didn't expect to be able to clutch it that round. I thought maybe if we survived through the round, I would have gotten it. But yeah, that was really, really tense.
Definitely. Yeah. Super tense.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Fantastic final.
Bye all. Catch you later.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.